They booked the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, a 14,000-seat venue. They flew in Seyi Tinubu, they had a minister on the ground, they planned an empowerment program across all 18 local government areas of Edo State, and the stadium was not full. Now, the City Boy movement says that's a misleading narrative. They say they only invited 6,000 people, so of course a 14,000-seat arena wouldn't be packed. That sounds logical on the surface, but here's the question nobody is asking. If you're trying to show the president's son that Edo youth are behind this movement, why would you only invite 6,000 people to a 14,000-seat stadium in the first place? Stay with me, because the answer to that question tells you everything about the real state of Tinubu's 2027 strategy. Before we go deeper, if you're just finding Naija Newsfeed, welcome. This channel exists to break down what's really happening in Nigerian politics without the noise and without the spin. The only way I can keep doing this is if you subscribe. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to the growth of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now and stay with me because this one gets very interesting. So, let's set the scene properly. Here's what actually happened. The City Boy movement, a youth political advocacy group that openly supports President Bola Tinubu's administration and his re-election bid, launched its South-South regional tour in late April 2026. The tour started in Edo State, and the team was led personally by Seyi Tinubu, the president's son and grand patron. Seyi arrived in Benin City on Thursday, April 24. He went straight to the governor's house for a courtesy visit to Governor Monday Okbepolo, who received them warmly. The governor even declared that Edo State has already endorsed Tinubu for a second term and pledged his backing. A minister was present, Ayodele Olawande, Minister of State for Youth Development, who described the movement as a bridge between Nigerian leadership and its youth. Then, on Saturday, April 26th, the main event was held at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, an empowerment program where beneficiaries were to receive items like deep freezers, sewing machines, tricycles, laptops, and wheelchairs. The problem? The stadium was visibly not full. Critics and opposition voices online immediately declared it as a sign that Edo people had rejected the APC and Tinubu's political apparatus. That narrative went viral, and that's when the controversy began. Before we get into the controversy, let's understand what this movement actually is, because a lot of people are confused. The City Boy movement was founded around 2022 by Seyi Tinubu. In its early years, it focused on youth empowerment through Lagos-based social media engagement and small community programs. By 2025, it had expanded into multiple states: Imo, Benue, Ondo, Plateau, Kwara, and Edo among them. In early 2026, it brought in socialite Obi Kubana as Southeast Zonal Director, which boosted its profile massively. Its official mandate: mobilize Nigerians aged 18 to 50 for civic engagement, political awareness, and grassroots development. Its actual mandate, which it doesn't hide, builds support for Tinubu's re-election ahead of 2027. Empowerment items are distributed, grants of 100,000 to 150,000 naira for artisans and traders, along with physical goods. The movement describes its beneficiary selection as cross-partisan, including persons living with disabilities. That context matters because what happened in Edo didn't happen in isolation. Here's where it gets interesting. After the stadium images circulated, the Edo State coordinator of the City Boy movement, Dr. Paddy Yamu, came out publicly on Monday, April 28th, and pushed back hard. His argument: they deliberately invited only 6,000 beneficiaries. You can't expect 6,000 to fill a 14,000-seat stadium, and they intentionally restricted access to verified beneficiaries only because of what happened earlier in Owerri, Imo State, where a similar event led to a dangerous stampede. So, he's saying the stadium looked empty by design, not by rejection. They were playing it safe. Distribution then became decentralized across Benin City to ensure everyone still got their items. That is a reasonable explanation, and as a responsible channel, we have to acknowledge it. But here's the pattern interrupt. This is actually the second time in a matter of weeks that the City Boy movement has had to manage a low turnout controversy. Just weeks earlier, in March 2026, when the movement tried to hold a rally in Owerri, the Organisers Youth Council Worldwide rejected the invitation outright, calling it an affront to Igbo youths, especially given the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu. That event was disrupted. Now, Edo is facing similar optics. 2 states, 2 controversies. That's not coincidence. That's a pattern.
Now, if what I just laid out surprises you, drop a comment below. I want to know your take before we get to the part that changes the whole picture. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. That subscribe button is the only way you help me keep bringing you breakdowns like this. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. It makes a real difference. Let's talk about what's really going on here. The political architecture underneath this story. The City Boy movement's Edo visit wasn't just an empowerment program. It was a 2027 electoral signal. Edo State has historically been a swing state. It's where the APC and PDP have battled bitterly for dominance. The last gubernatorial election in 2024 returned Governor Ogbemudia on the APC platform, and Tinubu's allies want to consolidate that. Governor Ogbemudia didn't just receive Seyi Tinubu, he pledged 3.5 million votes for the president in 2027. That's a remarkable public commitment. Philip Shaibu, the Director General of the Nigeria Immigration Service and a former Edo deputy governor, was also present, signaling that the political establishment is actively aligned. So the real audience for the Edo visit wasn't just Edo youths, it was the president himself, a demonstration that the South-South is being mobilized. The problem is, if the optics of that demonstration look weak, if stadiums look half empty and social media runs with rejection narratives, it undermines the entire signaling exercise. That's the real damage, not the attendance number, the narrative that spreads from it. Zoom out for a moment and look at what this tells us nationally. The Tinubu administration is running a charm offensive ahead of 2027. The City Boy movement is one of several instruments in that strategy, alongside federal projects in key states, ministerial appointments, and empowerment programs. The plan is to build a coalition of young voters who feel economically connected to the administration. But there's a fundamental tension in that strategy. Nigerian youths, particularly since the End SARS movement of 2020, have become increasingly difficult to mobilize through top-down political structures. The generation that shut down the country in 2020 doesn't naturally respond to rallies organized for them by the son of the sitting president. In the Southeast, critics like Emeka Nwosu of a major party called the movement out directly. The basic things promised by this government have not been met. He went further. Are we fools, trading political support in exchange for basic rights? That kind of sentiment, even if you disagree with it, represents a real electoral risk. You cannot empower your way past economic pain if the pain is deeper than the empowerment. A tricycle cannot replace 1,500 naira per litre fuel. A laptop cannot replace structural unemployment. Now, let me give you the fair version, the side of the story the critics often miss. The City Boy movement supporters make a legitimate point. The empowerment items were real. Deep freezers, wheelchairs, tricycles, sewing machines, those went to actual Nigerians with livelihoods to support. That's not nothing. Beneficiaries across Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, and Edo received these items, and the movement says selection was cross-partisan. The claim that Edo has rejected the movement is also too sweeping. Governor Ogbemudia is APC. The state government showed up. Philip Shaibu showed up. Several stakeholders were present. That's not rejection, that's elite-level endorsement. What's actually happening is more nuanced. Elite buy-in is high, grassroots enthusiasm is uncertain. That gap between the governors and ministers who show up and the ordinary youths who don't rush to fill stadiums is the real story, and that gap matters enormously for 2027. The question isn't whether Edo rejected the movement. The question is whether the movement can close that gap between political elites and actual young voters before the election. Here's what to watch going forward. Watch the South-South continuation. The City Boy movement was scheduled to continue from Edo to Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, and other South-South states. How those events are received, particularly turnout and public reception, will tell us whether Edo was an anomaly or a trend. Watch the 2027 opposition. The PDP and Labour parties have not been standing still. If they begin to specifically target the City Boy movement's empowerment narrative, framing it as vote buying rather than genuine youth empowerment, that becomes a legal and reputational vulnerability. Watch Obi Kubana's Southeast strategy. His appointment as Southeast Zonal Director is the most politically ambitious move the movement has made. If he can deliver genuine Southeast buy-in for Tinubu, that changes the 2027 map entirely. But given the Owerri disruption and Ohanese's boycott, that path is rocky. Best case scenario, the movement refines its strategy, closes the elite grassroots gap, and delivers genuine youth participation by mid-2026. Tinubu enters 2027 with visible South-South and Southeast momentum. Worst case scenario, the empty stadium imagery continues to define the movement's public perception, opposition narratives harden, and what was designed as a strength becomes a liability. I opened by asking, why would you invite 6,000 people to a 14,000-seat stadium if you're trying to demonstrate strength? Here's the honest answer. Because mobilizing genuine grassroots support is harder than booking a venue. The City Boy movement has the political elite behind it. It has funding, it has a minister, it has a governor, but what it doesn't yet have, at least not consistently, is the kind of organic youth enthusiasm that fills a stadium without needing to hand out deep freezers first. That's not an insult. That's the reality of doing political mobilization in an era when Nigerian youths have seen too many promises broken to show up for free. Whether the movement bridges that gap before 2027 is one of the most important political questions in Nigeria right now. I'm watching it closely, and so should you. If this breakdown gave you clarity on what's really going on, do me a favor, share it with one person who needs to hear this. Like the video and subscribe to Naija Newsfeed. I genuinely mean this. Subscribing is the only way you can help me keep doing this work. Every subscriber tells the algorithm this content matters. Every subscriber helps me reach more Nigerians with accurate, balanced political analysis. So if you found value in this video, subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it means the world to me. I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.